What's up, MoshPits? I haven't uploaded here in like literally 200 battles. Anyways, this is TylerAlman bringing you a 4th gen underused battle. It is against the Bob something or other with a bunch of random numbers. I think 450. Anyways, yes, 4th gen underused battle. So he leads off with a Scyther, which is a pretty weird lead to see in UU. And I lead off with my Uxie. I'm just gonna go for this reflect just because I don't want him to bug bite me, and I know it'll do a lot if I don't have a reflect up. He decides to set up a swords dance, and he sets up a second one as I just go for the U-turn to get some minute damage off and to go into my choice scarf Houndoom, which I know can one it KO it and outspeed with the overheat. He decides not to go for the quick attack. I'm assuming he didn't know I was scarf, but if I brought it in, he probably should have assumed that I was scarf. So anyways, overheat's gonna easily take off the the Scyther, and that's gonna be an easy 5-0 start for me, whatever. So he goes into his Feraligatr, which is also a swords dance, so it's kind of weird he has 2 SDers on one team, which is weird. Anyways, he does set up the swords dance, but because of the reflect and the fact that Uxie has mammoth defenses, I'm still going to take it awesomely, and I'm going to be able to get my stealth rocks up, because you know stealth rocks are awesome. So he does set up another swords dance. I guess wanting to do more damage because I do have the reflect up still, and I do just go for the U-turn once more. I'm going to go into my Sceptile this time because I know I'm faster and I know I can take an Aqua Jet if he does carry it. So I'm just going to go for the safe Leaf Storm as he goes into a Arcanine, which takes it, because I'm Specs, it does do a lot more damage than you would expect because I am indeed Specs, but I won't be able to KO him, so I'm just gonna switch out here because I know I'm still fearing the Flare Blitz, even though I'm pretty sure he's gonna go for the Morning Sun. I really have no merit to stay in here, and I can just go into a Zoom Roll to take anything he wants to go for. So he does end up going for the Morning Sun. I can scare him up with the Waterfall, but I figure at this point that his Feraligatr is going to want to come back in, and my Reflect just wore off. So I figure it's best time for me to just go straight back into my Uxie, predicting the Feraligatr switch in, which I do get, which was cool. So I go straight back into my Uxie, predicting the Feraligatr to come back in, and now I'm just going to go for another Reflect as he just sets up once more. So this is kind of a deja vu because the exact same thing's happening. He does Earthquake me there, which I never understood. Maybe he was predicting my switch, but that was just a weird play since I'm slower. But anywho, I go back into Sceptile. I figure he's going to predict me to over-predict, but I just stay in and go for the safe Leaf Storm. That's going to take out his second Swords Dancer, and that's his only Swords Dancer. It's not like a Swords Dance team in UU or something. Anyways, he goes into a Alakazam. Now, Alakazam's a pretty big threat in UU. I'm going to go straight into my Houndoom because this thing is Scarf for the sole purpose to counter Alakazams, but he actually is a sub-variant, which is bad. I really don't want to take a Focus Blast, so I switch straight back into my Uxie to take the Focus Blast. He actually goes for the Substitute. I'm not sure what he was predicting there either. He may have just wanted to scout me out there. But either way, my Stuxie gets a free switch, and I do able to get my light screen up, and now as his next Signal Beam is it going to kill me, and I can just go for the U-turn because of Alakazam's abysmal defenses. It's going to easily break the sub, and now I can go straight back into my Houndoom. I do carry the Pursuit again just to get rid of these stupid Alakazams. So no matter what he does here, it's pretty much just a standard Latios versus Tyranitar in OU. Like, no matter what he does, he's going to die, so he just decides to switch, and Pursuit's going to easily take him out. So down goes the Alakazam, which is pretty neat. So he's going to now take advantage of the fact that he knows I'm locked in Pursuit and go into his Cradle. Even though he's weak to Dark, I know Pursuit won't do much, and I really don't have anything to gain by staying in, even though I'm pretty sure he's going to spin or set up Stealth Rocks. I really can't do much by staying in, so I go straight in Sceptile. Here I thought he was going to go back into his Arcanine, fearing the Leaf Storm, but he makes a great play and predicts my over-prediction and just stays in, goes for the Stealth Rocks, which is bad because, you know, Stealth Rocks are like the best move in the game. Anywho, I go straight into Uxie now that the Stealth Rocks are up, using his Death Bottle. I kind of want to see what this Cladle wants to do, but he just goes for the Toxic, which is, you know, fine by me, because, well, I don't think I can really do about it. So we're going to a Zoom Roll. I know I can scare him out with the Waterfall. I'm just going to go for the Waterfall because I haven't seen anything to resist it yet, but he does show me he does have a Water Resist left, which is his last reveal Pokemon, which is this Altaria, which doesn't take it very well since Zoom Roll, Choice Band of Zoom Roll is kind of a mammoth, but either way, he can just do whatever he wants. He actually shows me as the Roar here as I go into Clefable, so it shows me that this Altaria is probably more of a purely defensive one than a Dragon Dancing Altaria, which will help me later, so I do switch. I do get roared to my Houndoom. I'm just gonna switch straight back into my Clefable, since I do have Magikarp. I'm not really worried about Stealth Rock damage, and I do have the Wish. So if he does roar me again, I can just get that thing healed up from the Stealth Rock damage. So I go for the Thunder Wave here, knowing the Arcanine is gonna want to come back in, and I do get that switch, which is very awesome. But it won't really matter at the end of the game because, as I find out later, that Altaria does carry the Heal Bell. So he does get Parahax as I go for the Wish. I'm going to go straight back into my Houndoom to get that thing healed up so I don't have to worry about, so I don't take any Stealth Rock damage. He does predict the switch very nicely again and goes for the Toxic, predicting the switch, which is again very smart. I was predicting the Fire move there. so I can get the flash fire. But either in any case, he does miss the toxic, which really sucks for him. But the residual damage on my Houndoom really wouldn't have helped him in the long run. Anyways, I'm just gonna go for the dark pulses as he switches back into his Altaria. And because there's no stealth rocks up, this thing could just keep switching in all day and his Arcanine without having to worry about taking stealth rock damages. And he does heal bell there. I'm just gonna stay in and keep going for the dark pulses just because I really don't have much for the Altaria. I don't have much that wants to switch into it per se. And my Houndoom isn't very useful at this point, so I'm just gonna stay in and keep going for the dark pulse until he decides to kill me. I kinda just want to free switch into my Sceptile here. I could go into a Zoom Roll and go for the Ice Punch, but he can just switch back into his Arcanine, so I just kinda figure that Sceptile would be the best thing to go into after this Houndoom dies. He does decide to hit me with a Dragon Claw here. It is an easy 2-hit KO because Houndoom has just as bad defense as Alakazam, so I do hit him with another Dark Pulse. It does very little because this thing does look to be like specially defensive, and another Dragon Claw is going to take out my Houndoom. So here I'm going to go, like I said, into my Sceptile here. I'm just going to go for the same Dark Dragon Pulse. I know kill it out. I know take it out because I am Specs at this point, as already mentioned. He does go into Claydol predicting the Dragon Pulse. I probably should have went for the Hidden Power Ice there, but I really didn't want him to go back into his Arcanine, because if that thing came back in, it could have just got a free Flare Blitz off, and that wouldn't be good. So again, I'm just going to go for some more Earth Powers. I'm afraid this Claydol is not much for me because usually most UU Claydols don't carry the Ice Beam since they're really only for the Dragons in OU. So I just keep going for the Dragon Pulse. He does have the Earth Power. He goes for that, which does like nothing since Claydol isn't that great of an attacker. And he goes for the Toxic here, which I don't understand why he didn't do last turn. But in any case, I am going to be able to kill off his Claydol next turn. But he actually decides to save his Claydol here and go straight back into his Arcanine and take the Dragon Pulse. I don't understand why he let his Claydol live there, or not just fodder it out, and that was just weird. But in any case, he is just going to be able to go into the Arcanine and take the Dragon Pulse fairly well, and I'm just going to have to switch out here because I can't do anything to this Arcanine. So I go into Zoom Roll, and he makes another great play, goes for the Toxic, breaking my switch. He is making a lot of good twitches later in this game. He's really starting to come back because he wasn't really playing well near the beginning. So yes, the Zoom Roll's Toxic, which isn't good because this thing does have a ton of HP, and it is a defensive variant with like max HP. I'm going to go for the Return because I know I can neutral everything on his team. In hindsight, I probably should have locked myself in the Ice Punch, predicting the switch, but I really couldn't risk him staying in there, predicting me to over-predict, so I was kind of hoping that it'd be faster, but it's no surprise I'm not, since I don't run much speed on this thing. So I mean, I'm going to be able to go for the Return after he roosts. It does do over half. It does do a lot of damage, but he can just roost stall me out since he did get the Toxic off from the Arcanine. So there's really no point in me staying in here, but I just decided to maybe fish for the crit because there's not much I can do with this Altaria otherwise, unless I can somehow manage to bring this thing back in again and lock myself in the Ice Punch, which wouldn't be a good idea anyways because he still has the Arcanine, which can just come back in and, you know, rate face. So I decided just to keep staying in here, or if I get a crit, that'd be nice. But, you know, I'm not going to get that crit, so I mean, I'm going to, I think, switch out here because I don't want to take any more toxic damage, and he does predict me to switch here and goes into Arcanine, which is pretty pro on him because he predicts my switch into Sceptile, and that really sucks for me because Sceptile can't do much to this thing. So I decide, I think right here I just decide to lock myself in a Dragon Pulse, but it doesn't really matter because he does have the extreme speed, and that is going to take me out of this much health. So yeah, that's not good. Here, I believe I go into my Clefable after the leftovers. Let's see. Yes, I do go into Clefable, and I believe I just go straight back into Mismagius, predicting a switch into, what's his face? The Altaria, but he makes a great play, stays in the Flare Blitz. That really sucks for me. If I, Death Fodder in the Mismagius there was a really bad misplay for me, because this thing probably could have set up on the, what's its face, and maybe done some stuff, but, you know, Mismagius dies. At this point, it's pretty much a good game. There isn't really much I can do here. I do have Clefable and the Zoom Rolls, my last guys, but I do decide to stay in here. I go for the T-Wave, predicting the switcher for him to stay in. But I'm going to speed this up here a little bit more because there's really not much I can do. I don't run the Seismic Husk or the Ice Beam. I run the Flamethrower, so there's not much I can do with the Altaria, so I just Flamethrower for no reason, just to burn a turn. But at this point, there's nothing much I can do. Clefable could, in theory, stall out both his guys since he doesn't have much for me. And as you can see right here, Flare Blitz is not a 2-hit KO, so I could stall him out forever with the Wish. The only problem with that is that he does have the Heal Bell on the Altaria, so he could just stall me out forever as well. Even though I do have the Magic Guard, it'd really just be an endless PP stall war. So I decided just to run here after my Zoom Roll dies with the Poison. So that's going to be a great game. So long, MoshPits. Bye.